So I'm actually doing my second video today. So I noticed my audience kind of diverging into the train folks and people like the walking and history tours, which is cool. So I want to share my walking tour here in Bologna today. So we started on the main piazza. I got to be with the tour group, and he kind of told me about the history of the Bologna, like the cathedral and like the statue and stuff in the beginning, which is really interesting. Get to learn about that, and also from there we went and learned about the other church in town, the Church of St. Stephen's, which is kind of cool. It's like 7 different churches at one point that kind of merged into one, and then 3 of them collapsed, so there's like 4 left. It's kind of like a hodgepodge. It's kind of messy, but it's so cool. And also, like, the main cathedral is not finished either, so it's really interesting. Like, both the churches are kind of a hodgepodge, and yeah, I think you'll enjoy seeing the inside of them. Also, we had to explore like a little bit of the culture and food. So we learned about the towers of Bologna, which is kind of an interesting story. I guess the wealthy families used to build them to kind of like show off how much money they had. So at one point, Bologna kind of looked like Manhattan. All these people kept building these towers, and but the thing is, Bologna is that the ground here is kind of squishy, so almost all of them fell over time or were purposely knocked down because they're dangerous or they needed the real estate and the material. And so, yeah, there's only like 2 left, and one of them's about to tip over any day. So it's kind of sad. Um, yeah, then we had to go explore like an alley where all the food, and got to learn about all the food culture. So you'll see a bit of that. I tried the pasta; it's really good. Um, and some of the local wine, really great. That's probably some of the best wine I've ever had. Honestly, I took a picture, and yeah, I'll probably try to look for it when I get home. So hopefully, it'll probably be expensive though. I'm sure if I could even find it. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I think it's really interesting, even though it might be kind of short today because I did like 2 videos in one day, which is kind of crazy. But enjoy. So I'm here at a falafel place. It's owned by like I guess a Palestinian guy here in Bologna. This is kind of cool. So I get to try this soda, which is really cool. Interesting. Let's see what it tastes like. Man, that soda is like really good. Those fries are awesome. Yeah, it's very tasty. Love it. Finally something nice and spicy. Yeah, so here in Bologna now. Luckily, I like these covered walkways everywhere. It's pretty nice. And I'm glad to be here. I'm going to be headed to Rome and Florence tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be like a crazy day, and I'm kind of like not looking forward to it. I just looking into the day after Rome where I could just sleep. But no, I'm doing well. This place looks really cool. I wish I had more time here and I could explore. Yeah, I think Bologna is definitely like a cycle city. There's like bikes everywhere, scooters everywhere. There's a lot of young people. I think there's like a university or something here. But it's cool seeing all the scooters and bikes and stuff. So I'm here in the center of Bologna, the main piazza. So my tour starts in like an hour. So I'm just gonna kind of post up at a coffee shop for a bit, chill. But yeah, just look at this place all around me. It's incredible. That church, massive. But no, it's a cool spot. I think that that thing is pretty cool. The water fountain there. All right, so I'm starting my walking tour here in a minute. So we'll get going. We're here in the main piazza. I got caffeinated, so I'm good to go. So the statue of Neptune was a gift from the Pope in like the 15th century, and it was given to show the strength of the Pope because he controlled these territories as part of like Vatican. It was known as the Papal States back then, and there's actually the sculptor of this thing left a little trick on there. So if you look at it at a certain angle, Neptune's hand looks like a giant phallic phallus that points directly at the church, is kind of like a middle finger to the Pope at the time. So yeah, the Pope was really involved in like real politics at the time, and owned like wealthy cities, like was within his realm, like Bologna. I mean, Bologna to this day is like, I think there's like millions of people who live in this city, so it's a large city, and this cathedral is massive. It's like, looks like a mountain, honestly. So I have some photos earlier. I guess I'll go back, but I went and stopped where the first university in the world was actually founded here in Bologna in the year 1088, and it was just kind of gathering of people sharing ideas for hundreds of years. It was like that. It wasn't until the 16th century where they actually had like a building. They had actually the structure of what we thought universities are now. And yeah, it was just really interesting seeing how they did a lot of stuff. Also, I learned that this city is has the most porticos, which are like the covered walkways. The most porticos in the world. There's like kilometers and kilometers of them. I think the tour guide said it was like 40 kilometers of porticos in the city or something like that. Maybe more. I'll give you the exact number in the pre-cap. But no, the city is like really interesting. It's really beautiful. So go figure, Bologna was a city of canals at one point, and they've all been filled in by roads. So it's kind of sad. It'd be nice to see some boats come down these streets, but what can you do? Modern times, right? So behind me is where Maserati got its start, and the little trident logo was borrowed from Neptune's trident there at the main square. It's kind of funny. So they basically just copy pasted that onto their logo. So if you get a Maserati, you'll see Neptune's trident right on top of it, symbol of the city of Bologna. So this is St. Stephen's, the Church of St. Stephen's, and it's actually was originally constructed as 7 separate churches that kind of like merged into one. And 3 of them have collapsed over time. There's still 4 left, but this is the main church. It's still like in regular use. So, all right, we're gonna go inside. Yeah, this place is really amazing, honestly. So it looks like humans have been recycling material forever. It's like they ran out of material, so they just gathered up these four columns, and voila. I guess they have to do it with a few other ones too. There's a few odds and ends here. They do it there too. There. There's ones with some fat columns there too. So lots of fat ones. There's a fat one there. But yeah, interesting. Yeah, they just kind of hodgepodge. This whole building is like a hodgepodge, but in the coolest possible way. Yeah, if you're ever in Bologna, I've been to a lot of churches, and this one is definitely very unique. It's kind of a hodgepodge of churches. If you're a big Catholic Church aficionado, this is definitely worth a look. It seems like Bologna is full of very unique churches. People here are kind of quirky, I think. So, like in medieval times, I guess the city of Bologna was filled with these towers. It kind of looked like a old school Manhattan back in the day. It's kind of interesting. I guess they just most of them didn't hold up over time. I guess that one was just a little extra sturdy. I don't know. All right, so I think we're on like Food Street now. So there's like different types of food everywhere. These are like the sweets here. Right there's a bunch of different types of sweets, like chocolates. Oh, pup. Sorry. Lots of fruits. All right, so we got fishmongers here, and there's some more over there. We got chunks of meat hanging from there. Oh, we got all this stuff. Look at that. So this is the region we're in, Emilia Romagna. It's just a bologna for Bologna. So this place is the oldest restaurant osteria in the world, but it no longer serves food. So it's like technically the oldest bar, I guess. So it's roughly like 600 years old. It's kind of crazy. There's a restaurant in Madrid that might have an argument about being the oldest place to eat for sure, but it's kind of interesting. It's just like a simple bar where like locals go and drink. Gotta go check it out one of these days. Well, I want to check out this cathedral and probably get a bowl of the local pasta here in Bologna. So here we go. Check this out, and then that's my plan. Guess I just basically got a very small, tiny taste of the city, and I definitely want to come back here and spend at least like 3 days minimum. But yeah, this is kind of cool. They never finished it, so and the people don't want it to be finished. So if you imagine what a church looks like without the marble, that's what it would look like. It would just look like brick. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like they started on that side, they started moving up, and I guess they ran out of cash, and they said, nope, no more. Well, the tour guide also said that the Pope was afraid that this church would be bigger than what they had at the Vatican at the time, so they kind of cut funding from like the Vatican as well. So it's just like, yeah, people's egos. So I'm here in Bologna Cathedral, and I'm just gonna quickly light a candle for my niece and uncle who passed away this past year. Those two right there in the front are for you and Uncle Sammy, Kayla. Kayla, Uncle Sammy. I still got the Jubilee from last year. Oh shoot. Oh, it's crazy. All right, so I think the word that would describe the churches here in Bologna would be hodgepodge. They're like everything seems to be like a unfinished hodgepodge of random eras, random bits and pieces, just whatever they think looks cool at the time, they just throw it in there. Or if somebody donates something flashy, they'll put it in their little section of the church, or they'll build their own little church, or I don't know, and they kind of fuse it together. It's kind of cool to look at because you could kind of see all the different eras of history and just different styles and stuff like that. So nothing's really uniform in there, but I don't know. I just find that kind of fascinating. I haven't really seen that in too many other places. Everything you go to church, it has like a uniform style, uniform part in history, and the churches here are just kind of like all over the place and chaotic, and I'm all for it. Do your own thing. So the tour guide kind of said this piazza represented like the four parts of living, I guess, or life in the city. It's like you have religion here on this side, you have the government and judicial on this side. This is where they used to have like basically like city hall and the courthouse. On this side is commerce, so you have like businesses over here, and then on this side is banking. So all the bankers and financiers and stuff and rich people are on that side. So those are the four things that kind of squared up this piazza. So I want to stop at this wall and kind of show you all the people that were killed and wounded during World War II, but they fought against both the Nazis and they fought against the fascist government. These are honor the partisan fighters. A lot of Bologna is also known for being like the socialist communist bastion of Italy, and these people are probably like local people who gave everything they had to keep to keep their country basically free from fascism. So I'm having the tortellini with meat, di carne, and the other like main dish of Bologna is the lasagna bolognese. And so I just saw a bunch of tortellini and I'm like, I have to try it. We decided to go with this one instead of the lasagna bolognese because this tortellini list looked outstanding and it's super expensive. So 1 pound of this was roughly about $20, probably, maybe more, yeah. So this meal with the wine is probably about $20. This pasta is extremely expensive, but let's see how it tastes. Yeah, this is like a cool little alleyway. It's like just covered in graffiti. Yep, Bike City. This place is full of bikes.